Boom. All right. Okay, we switched over. All right. Ooh, let's see what's going on with your screen over here. All right, 1 second, guys. We're just gonna do a little fix here. All right. All right. As I'm fixing this, guys, thank you all for joining today. I got my man Paul, and I'm gonna let him pronounce his last name because I don't want to butcher it on camera.
Ochieng.
Ochieng.
Shout out to my people.
Ochieng.
Ochieng,
Ochieng.
the name.
Okay, good, good. Paul
Yes,
Ochieng.
sir.
I met him during a little virtual mixer, and we're just gonna get right into his story. We were chatting right before we got online, and I mean, just from hearing a couple seconds, I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna be interested. And this is what we're talking about. So he's gonna tell us a little bit about his story. We'll just start off with the introduction. His name, Paul Ochieng, his age, where he's from, and how he got here. To where he is right now.
Shoot. Okay. Yeah. Paul Chang. I hail from the great country of Kenya. I'm just shouting right now because the Olympics are going on. So your boy woke up early so I could turn on the TV at 7 a.m. today to watch my boys run. So I definitely rep Kenya. I'm a dual citizen of Kenya and the United States. I'm from Southwest Michigan, a little unknown village by the name of Berrien Springs. Um, how did I get to where I am today, man? A lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. I started off college. Before college, I wanted to become a pilot, right? So let me tell you about the not knowing what you want to do with life, but following your dreams. So I wanted to become a pilot before I started college. But like many African kids, certain things just did not line up. So when I started college, I was a bio pre-med major.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did that for a year. Second year of college, I was sitting in a genetics class, and nothing, I'm talking about nothing was
Genetics.
making sense. Nothing was making sense. And have you ever sat in the class and you're
I
like,
know.
yo,
I took
what
genetics. I was a
is
biology
going
major,
on?
so
You know what I'm saying?
organic chem.
That's like, I know I'm not
Yeah,
dumb,
yeah, yeah.
but nothing is
Mm-hmm.
clicking. Nothing is clicking. So I'm sitting in this class, I'm like, you know what? And this was like, it was like halfway through the semester. I was like, I don't think this is my calling because if I'm struggling at this point, I don't know if I'm built for this. So I was like, okay, cool. So I switched to a total different spectrum. I was economics pre-law. Um, and that was fun. Did the LSAT, did fairly
Oh
well.
wow.
Yeah. Didn't go to law school though. Did the economics, really enjoyed that, but it really didn't quite fulfill what it is I wanted. Learned a lot. None of it was, applicable. So then, after a few years, I was working, and my buddy Joseph and his business partner Casey, that pre-PT grind. So I started listening to their podcast back in 2019, and I'd like be walking for miles, and I just listened to their stuff, consume it, consume it, consume it. I was like, dang, I think physical therapy might be it for
Mm.
me. Now, granted, to make a long story short, I'd also kind of started being introduced to the PT world in 2018. Met my then girlfriend, who is now my fiance. She's a physical therapist. Everything really lined into the world of physical therapy. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to PT school. Went back to school, did the prereqs. That was fun, and then I decided to start two businesses in the midst of doing my prereqs. One was a physical therapy practice. The other is a digital marketing agency. Um, I ain't gonna lie. When I started the PT joint, I was like, I want to be the guy in PT school who already has the PT business, and I know what I want to do coming out of school, which is cool. A little bit of an ego thing, but
Yeah.
it's cool. At least knowing what it's like, because I've definitely learned the other business end of physical therapy a lot when it comes to like billing, insurance. Making sure you get all that stuff done, making sure codes, bro. I've learned so many codes. I'm like, because I need to know it, even though I'm not the clinician.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff. And then with the digital marketing agency, just learning a lot of stuff about Facebook ads, marketing, advertising, SEO. My business partner, Carl Bourne. who is at the time of this recording and live stream, finishing up his last year of physical therapy school down in University of St. Augustine, but down in the Miami
I actually
area.
think I talked to him.
So yeah, good dude, man. Good dude, good dude. Um, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's kind of like how I got to where I'm at in a very short, condensed
Okay.
version of my long story.
Okay. So there was a lot there, but I have some questions, and we might go a little off, but we're gonna try to stay on task. Tell me, you didn't have experience, of course, with insurance billing, probably even having a physical clinic. What, outside of just, hey, I want to have a business, what triggered you to, or inspired you rather, to take that leap, especially not ever being in that business before?
Man, okay. So this is like a 2/3 part thing. So I've always like, without even noticing it, I think I've been very business minded
Mm,
ever since I was a kid,
mm-hmm,
right? I grew up watching my dad like launch all kinds of things. Many of them didn't succeed, but at least seeing the process of like that dedication, be like, okay, my man's getting after it.
right.
Watching my mom as well launch her own businesses, and kind of like, being surrounded by that, and at least knowing like, okay, there's some, stuff to this. But when it really first hit for me, man, it was 2018. Man, I was going through it emotionally. So my buddy Joe just invited me to come down to Tampa. I was living in Michigan at the time. Come down to Tampa, visit them for a week. And that's when I met Greg Todd. We were talking about him. And so, got to go to the clinic. We hung out, which is dope because, folk got to pay like mad cash to hang with Greg.
Right,
So,
right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, you
So
got to connect.
got to chill with him for the afternoon, man, and just see what he was doing, and see how he was, doing his thing. And then, he invited me to come back for his conference a couple months later. And the conference is when I first started it, because what happened is that Friday was my birthday, right? So I came in on my birthday, and GT was like, Joseph, take him to the beach house. Right? That's all he said. He said, just take him to the beach house. Let him see. Right?
Let him see what's
And
in
we pull up
store
to
for
the
him.
beach. First of all, I don't know about you, but I really don't know black people with beach houses.
Right,
So
right. Now I don't know too
we
many.
pulled up, and my man like has an elevator,
Wow.
in the spot. Now he recently sold it because the market is beautiful for selling,
Uh-huh.
but had an elevator in there. It's like 3 level, house. It's like magnificent, right across from the beach.
Mm.
Um, and as I sat in there, it started to kind of like, okay,
The gear started shifting.
you know
Yeah.
what? And he looks like me,
Mm. Bingo.
shorter than me slightly. Um, Energy just like mine.
Bingo.
As the life that I desire,
Bingo.
able to do it through business.
Mm.
What am I? What am I missing?
Wow.
What's the tangible things I need to figure out? So that was the very first instance when I was like, yo, business is what it's going to be for me, right? And so as I kind of started going through the physical therapy world and being introduced to a ton of people in that year, 2018, was my very first taste about meeting a lot of healthcare entrepreneurs and seeing like, okay, a lot of these people are in their journey, but they all seem to be having like a dope desire to have a better lifestyle. One of the ones that I really admire, Chanel, she's in that world. But Chanel Yoder, she actually lives like half an hour from me now. But she's one of those people I saw like start her journey as a healthcare entrepreneur, as a PT. And now she like has a lifestyle that 3 years ago, and she'll say this because she actually talked about this at the live event. At the live event, she literally showed us in 2019 that a year before she had a negative bank account balance.
Hey, I can relate.
And then a
What's up?
year later, we're looking at
Yeah.
close to 7 figures,
Wow. Okay.
right? So I starts to hit.
Okay.
What is it that I need to be doing to get there, because clearly once you see the proof, right? I'm one of those like tangible people.
Uh-huh.
I just see it, feel it, learn, and then I can execute, right?
Got it.
So I'm like, see it, I see that it's been done not just by one person, but another person, right? And then the third example was when I saw one of my boys, Kyle Rice, the NPTE, the PT Hustle
Yes, I've
guy.
heard of it.
Um, and I saw him really serving his people at such a high level
Mm.
and helping all these people pass their board exams.
Wow.
And he was doing it in a way that was able to help him and his wife pay off like $300,000 in student loans in the
Sheesh.
span of 18 months and still have surplus and still be able to move by the beach and still be able to do. So I was like, okay, so here's three prime examples where business has intersected with people that look nothing like each other but have the life that I desire, and they're able to prioritize their significant other while prioritizing the people they serve. These are the three intersections for me that said, oh no, fourth intersection was Joseph's actually,
Okay.
and his business and their business partner. When I actually I remember, they've been killing it, but 2 summers ago, 2019, summer 2019, no, summer 2020, I actually in real time watched them do six figures in like 20 minutes, right? And so these four things told me, this is my boy. We've come up since like we were in diapers. And we've been able to, been able to see like, okay, I have these four prime examples of people that are doing it right with the moral compass like intact, and they're serving the people that they need to serve and want to serve, and they have the life they want, the desire. Okay, so I'm like, these are prime examples for what it's like for me. So for me, in 2018, I started dating my then girlfriend, and one of the things I understood was like something I wanted was to have a life of freedom. Now, this is going to come out, and however somebody takes it, they're going to take it. But like my long term goal in life is to be like a stay at home dad,
Mm.
right? And what that means is I want to be able to stay at home as a father while still running my businesses,
Mm.
right? I want to be able to be present for my kids and stuff like that. For her, I was like, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? What are your end goals like? What do you want to get out of this? She's telling me, she wants to be able to do the coaching. She wants to be able to do the PT on her terms,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, okay, cool. Well, the business is the only way we can hit this.
Bingo.
The only way we can hit this. There is no other way. I mean, I guess there is another way.
There is no
It's
other
going to
way.
take us an extremely long time to get there.
Right.
Doing it the traditional,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll say the tradition, it's going to take us such a long time to get there. So how can we collapse a lot of that time and start to learn stuff as fast as we possibly can to get to that point? So that's where business really started to like click for me. Now, I need to say this, like the way my first business and my second business started were not identical. The first business, bro, we struggled for like a year.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Figuring stuff
Right.
out with the PT, right? Figuring stuff out, trying to see what did work, what didn't work. When I learned how annoying insurance is,
Yes.
when I learned how annoying it is to deal with car car insurance companies. Forget regular insurance. Car insurance companies are a pain when you're treating patients who are filing car insurance accident claims, and they're the ones that are paying us.
Mm.
Right? To the point, like there was this one patient, I legitimately forgot. Like we just wrote off the loss. I legitimately forgot we even dealt with that. And then like 2 years later, the attorney's hitting me up like, hey, like what can we do? We can do this. I'm just like, bro, like forget that. Right. So learning a lot of that stuff, understanding, the process of what it's like, having to learn a lot of things was crucial. But I also understood that this was the way I get to my desired outcome. And this is the way I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way business itself has set it up, even to the point where it's like, now we're getting into real estate
Yep.
and we're learning that stuff, and we're like, legacy now. I'm thinking about the kids, and how we can set them up, right? So a lot of that stuff, it's just rooted in business, and it's something tangible that we can utilize to then pass on to the next generation. Because think about it. physical therapist, I can't pass on my job at ABC Inc. to the next
Yeah.
person. Once it's over, it's over. That's it.
Done.
And they tell me it's over before I pass away.
Exactly.
So I was like, that ain't gonna work. So what we can do, you know what I'm saying? That's just not gonna work for me and mine. So what is it we can do then that can at least set us on the right path? So even as we continue to build it, as we're doing the other stuff, ultimately it will serve us at a level that, yo, we can live life. I mean, we're now in Tampa where we're basically living out the dream. And I'm not saying like every day is great. We still struggle, but like at least we're living out the dreams that we used to dream 3 years ago.
Wow.
Now,
3 years.
you know? And so it's like that business has allowed us to have that. Business has allowed us to be able to set goals and say, this is what we want to do. Let's get it done. You know, getting married next fall, business is allowing us to be able to set a budget and say, okay, what do we need to do inside the business to ensure that the wedding is entirely paid for within a certain amount of months? Like,
Sheesh.
I can't, you know what I'm talking about? I go to clock in
Ah, trading your
and
time for
they'll be
money.
like, yep, you work here for 40 hours a week, and then, you know, taxes will kick in. And then after 50% of that stuff is gone, you're making $70,000 a year, but really 35 is really coming into your account. Because, you know, all these things, it's like, fam, that ain't gonna work. It's not feasible.
And,
We can't,
and
you know.
that's crazy. And it's funny that you said that. I remember one time I was shadowing an acute care center in Virginia, and I was at this hospital. It was acute care, a lot of stroke patients, and a lot of these people couldn't move too well. And the oldest person there was 31 out of all the therapists. And I'm looking around and I said, hold on, what? This doesn't make sense. These are the youngest physical therapists I've ever been around, right? And so I was a little curious, right? Why? Well, they said, I mean, this is an intensive job. The bodies of people older, they don't last. You're picking up people who limbs, who are morbidly obese. Some people can't move. You're doing all these type of stuff, and yeah, they teach you proper mechanics, when you're doing lab and when you're in PT school. But at the end of the day, your body's still going to take a hit. The oldest person there was like 31 years old, and I'm sitting here, and these people are, yeah, they're getting 80, 90K, right? But
Right.
they paying the price for that, So it's crazy that you said that, man. I'm
Exactly.
trying to keep myself calm because
Bro.
this is literally, man, what I've been.
Forget comp. Let's get into it.
Yeah,
Listen.
I've been waiting and like thinking like, how can I circumvent this system? Because I'm looking at things and I don't want to live like that. Even like my mom, for example, I'll get a little personal here, and she won't mind me sharing this, but she's a doctor, and I seen, she came to this country from Guyana. And man, I don't know anybody who works as hard as my mom. I tell myself, if I can just work as hard as my mom, I'm going to be successful, right? So I seen her literally a couple weeks ago, had a mini stroke, had to go to the hospital. Then all of a sudden, hey mom, what's up? She's back to work, 5 o'clock, 5:30 every morning. She's waking up, going. I said, okay, Bakari. I said, I said, okay, man, you're playing around, and I'm gonna be honest. Even a lot of what you're seeing here, sometimes it takes that shock. There's been a lot of things that have shocked me in life, but when I saw that, and I'm like, Mom, the turnaround, it's too fast. But if you stop,
It's insane.
what you gonna do?
That's the thing. That's the thing. And that's why, like I'm saying, that's why I intentionally explained what my end goal is first, before I even explained anything else. My end goal is to be a stay-at-home dad, and then I explained what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that, because I grew up seeing my parents always working.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up seeing my parents missing a lot of events. Now, you know how it is, like progressively with each child,
Right,
it gets
right, right,
better.
right,
And,
right, right.
you know, now we've got the last born.
Yeah, I'm one of
Everybody's
four,
president.
so I understand. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but like, I want to be present for a lot of that stuff and understanding like a lot of those opportunities we don't get. But and this, and to the point where it's like part of what I saw was this, right? Part of what I saw was this. every single person I just mentioned, those 4 people that had those pivotal impacts in my life. Let's take Joseph, for example, right? So we usually do like, a morning devotion every morning. And yesterday, we do 8 o'clock every day. Now, for most people at 8 o'clock, what are they usually doing?
Probably just getting up. Some people.
I mean, like in the weekday, right?
Well, I work.
All right.
Headed
They're
to
either
work
at work,
anyway.
on the way to
Yeah.
work, or in traffic
Right,
going to
right,
work.
right.
I was sitting right here. My boy Joseph was walking his son on the phone.
Man.
And we were on there from 8 to 9:30.
Damn.
So while people are already like pushing so hard, we're doing our thing. Understanding that we're still going to get ours.
Right.
We're still going to get the work done. We're still going to whatever, but at least we're doing it the way that makes sense for us so we don't burn out. And that was one thing I learned from all these people, especially from my mom. Like, everything needs to have a purpose where it leads to it, right? So like everything we're doing, like everything she does, everything my dad does, everything my siblings do, my siblings and I, we've been taught, like, understand that because you know what the end goal is, just find Jamal always says, the vehicle that will get you there. Find the vehicle that's going to get you there. So that's what business allows us to do, where it's like a lot of people, because they have no choice, right? I'll use the example of your mom. Like, she had the thing, 5 days later, it's 5:30, she's back into it. Unfortunately, a lot of people have to do that because that is the thing that needs to be done.
Right.
Let me start there. With business, what I learned is I'm actually like, where somebody has an 18-hour day, I have like a 16-hour day running a business. But I've learned to condense that. 2020 was unfortunately a terrible year for a lot of people, but it's a year from the Lord for me. Right.
Right. It's so funny. A lot of people in business.
Yeah, bro, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I actually learned to get rid of all this unnecessary extra stuff. So it was very awkward, like in the middle of the year, where it'd be like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I know people are at work, and I'm like going to the gym, and it's like 3 people at the gym, and I'm just in there like, I have nothing till 3. Okay.
Sheesh.
let's get it done.
Sheesh.
But what did that happen? Like, that happened as a result of business. But what does that look like? Because I'm learning to practice a lot of stuff. What does that look like 3 years from now when I'm a dad? Fingers crossed, right? It's 11 o'clock and I'm home with my kids. It's 11 o'clock and I'm doing whatever they need to get done. And I'm enjoying that time and I'm present while still doing my business. So that's why I said, like, I needed to first show what the end goal is. And because of that, and I saw that in all these people, like, they're living life the way they did. I don't know if you saw Greg's story today.
I've been looking at. I look at everything Greg posts.
He was doing at 7:30 this morning. He was fishing.
I saw it.
And then he went home and did breakfast at 10. And then he did business. And then he went for a beach walk.
I saw.
Is my man struggling?
He don't look like he's struggling to me.
He don't look like he's struggling to me.
He looked pretty good.
But is he still getting the work done? And how's he doing that? Business. So that's like why I'm saying, like, that's the impact that running a business and having a business has. But also with the understanding that, knowing that the first portion of it is such an exponential thing. The first portion of it sucks so much because, like, 1 in like a billion people start business and everything is great.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else just got to go through the suck. But as long as you learn to go through that, it eventually gets better. And then eventually you stick with it long enough, it will exponentially grow at an insane rate. So kind of went on a tangent there.
No, that's good, man. That's good.
But, I felt like that was important to share, just understanding, like, the things it does for you will come to you faster than just doing the regular thing. And that doesn't mean like having a regular 9 to 5 is bad. Absolutely not. I think it's great to have a 9 to 5. You got to start somewhere. And that's actually one of the things, for most people, you do it right. That's the thing that actually helps you fund the business. Helps you get started. That's the thing, fam. Believe me, if I had known about real estate from like when I was 18, fam, let me tell you something. And this is the thing. People always ask me, like, if you could go back, would you go to college? I'm like, no. If I knew now what I knew then, I would have totally skipped it. I would have literally gone and just worked at the
Mm,
hospital and just got money for real estate down payment. That's
mm.
all I would have done. Just I would have spent a year getting cash, and then after that year, getting into it. But it's as long as people want to put in the time, it's very easy to get into it and like fun. Now that's just the example of real estate. With all these other businesses that require humans
Right,
and
right.
customer
Hmm.
service, it's a little different. But you learn things along the way. But at the end of the day, when you're changing people's lives and you're impacting and making a positive impact in people's lives, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other
Right.
way.
Because it's that both. You get that gratification of helping people, but you also get paid. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want both? You know, and that actually brings up one of the questions I was going to ask you, and I'm glad you went on that tangent. You said, of course, going through that suck, that first moment. I even think about it's so funny. You commented on the studio setup, but bro, I think about how long it took me just to even learn how to use everything, and it got to a point where, for example, like my computer was too slow, so I had to go invest $1,300 into a Mac One Mini just to be able to run this stream smooth enough. And I'm like, debts paying up, debts piling up, because I knew if I was going to present something, I wanted it to be legitimate. $3,000 on the
Right.
camera, 13. I didn't have the money, man. I'm paying off this stuff now, but I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I promise. It's something in my mind. I'm like, if you stick through this and you just
Right.
invest and you stay down and you figure this stuff out, this technical difficulty, this learning curve, this night up, this thumbnails, this. I mean, I'm running all this shit by myself, and it's funny. I'm like, yo, just keep going, And part of this being in isolation that I've been
Right.
in as of late since I've left the University of St. Augustine and come home, I've just been in isolation. And the isolation for me, it's kind of like my superpower because it allows me to be really creative. And I just started
Right.
just twiddling around with stuff, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. So I want to ask you, what would you say when you're going through that suck period or just in general? Because I'd like to take this information and just make it general as well. What would you say the
Hmm.
three most important things in your opinion make, or is important rather, qualities to make someone successful, especially going through that period of that low, and I'll say three qualities, but maybe some more abnormal ones, of course, determination, consistency,
Okay.
those are pretty normal, right?
Okay. Okay. I got you. So I'm crazy. I over the years I've developed an insane amount of faith
Okay.
in what I'm doing. Something that my fiance and I constantly talk about because she's the opposite. She's like, show her the
Mm.
proof, and that should come into it. I'm like, I don't care about the proof. I want to see if it'll work for me. Like, let's just go, right? So I think what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me, at times, really has just been the willingness to be okay with failing, right? I think far too many people like get caught up in wanting things to work out, and it's natural. It's a human thing. You want things to work out, but people get so caught up in wanting things to work out that you set yourself up for it not to work out. So everything I do, and not this doesn't mean that I go into it thinking it's not going to work out, but before I do anything, I'm okay with it not going the way I want it to go. I'm okay with failure occurring. I'm okay with understanding that most of the time I don't know anything about this. And I actually learned this. Shout out to Peter in St. Petersburg. He has a virtual like simulation center. So basically, for like F1, for Boeing 737s, for like F-16 jets, all kind of things, right? So I learned this thing on my 26th birthday. But coolest gift my fiance ever got me. But she took me to the simulation center, and remember I told you before I started college, I wanted to be a pilot. Like that's just my childhood dream, and she knows that, right? So she's like, "Look, I'm gonna take you here. It's not a real plane, but at least you get to try to see what it's like." Because he's built like real life models of these things, right? and then like he puts you in a virtual situation, but you're holding the actual thing. You're not holding the controller, you're holding whatever. So I get in here and I was like, yo, I want to do the F-16, um, fighter jet. Like, I want to learn how to do it. And he's like, okay, cool. And for the first half hour, he's literally just talking to me about how to make things inside the jet work. And then he said, we're going to do two things. We're going to take off and we're going to land. We're going to do these two things. Once we do these two things, then we'll move on to something a little more advanced. I'm like, take off and land? Okay, seems simple enough. Get in there. Taking off is easy, right? Much like anything in life. Ooh, I caught that one. Taking off is easy. Starting is easy. Something that's difficult is when you start to do something you never done before. So every time I'd land, the plane would crash. Like, I'm talking about explode. Because the thing with fighter F-16s, I realized, is you just can't land. You have to do everything precisely. And people spend 3+ years learning to take off and land and fly these things. Professionals. Here I am with 30 minutes of training. People spend 3+ years, and I was getting pissed. I was getting mad. I was like upset with myself. So I'm like, yo, why can't I just land this thing? And he stops me. He's like, you have to understand, stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to expect for things to go the way you think they'll go, because you have not spent. The government has not invested in you millions of dollars to teach you how to do this thing. So how can you expect yourself to do in 30 minutes what people spend 3+ years doing? So that was one of the very first things I took with me in the business. Be okay with failing, because the more you fail, the more confirmation you get about how something doesn't work. Catch that one, right? More confirmation about how something doesn't work. So that actually naturally narrows everything until you end up where? To the thing that does work. But people get so caught up in making A through Z work that they don't know like why is what actually works. So they're trying to make A work over and over and over and over because it just has to work. So that's the first thing. Be okay with failing. Like, that's a natural part of life. We started walking as kids. Nobody just, as a kid, got up and said, yep, I got this. Let's go. You fell. You crawled. You fell. You cried. People picked you up. So why can't we bring that same energy into what we're doing today? The second thing is just understanding that you legitimately cannot do it on your own. Like, there's no part of this that can work unless you learn to trust other people. And entrepreneurs have this thing, and I've learned this from other people. Entrepreneurs have this thing that when you have like your little, at least in this book, you have your little baby
Yep.
and grown it and you've taken care of it and you've learned everything about it and you've learned the back end, you've learned the code, you've learned all these things, and now you're trying to grow, but you can't be the CEO, the HR department, the person doing the sales, the person doing the marketing, and the front doorman. You can't do all of that, but that's what we do naturally
Yep.
because it's my baby.
Yeah, you're speaking
You
to
can't do
me.
it on your own.
You're speaking
You know
to
what I'm
me
saying?
right now.
Well, you can't do it on your own. As a matter of fact, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're being selfish because you're not preventing yourself from serving the people that need to be served because you become unwilling to learn that you can't do it on your own, right? So understanding, learning how to identify who actually can do it with you. That's why I have business partners. I don't have business partners because I enjoy having business partners. Like, and they're dope. But I'm a very like do it on my own kind of person.
Same way.
I want to figure it out. I want to get it done. But I understand that I need to have business partners because what I'm not good at, they complement and they're good at. They're the ones who help me see stuff clearly. I'm very big picture. They're very focused on the details. And if I'm trying to big picture and focus on the details, it's bound. It's like a train heading for a wall. It's bound to crash. The third thing is, and for those of y'all that are watching, listening, catch this one. The third thing and the most important is just being willing to, and this will sound cliche, but be willing to treat it as if you would treat like you're paying yourself, right? You go to work, you clock in, you clock out, and then somebody does payroll one day and you get a direct deposit, or if you're still like in the 1900s, you get a paycheck that gets mailed to you 2 weeks later, right? And you just know the correlation. You went to work, somebody paid you. But it's very easy as a business owner because you're not seeing the tangible money coming into the account constantly every 2 weeks, every month, every week. You start to treat it like a hobby and not as a job, right? And that's the hard thing. This is what I'll tell people. Like, if anybody ever bothers to ask, understand that no part of this is going to be like rainbows and flowers and warm fuzzy things. Like, the very beginning will feel like it, but at some point you got to get in the mud, you got to grind, and you got to treat it like you got to pay yourself. You have to treat it like you got to pay yourself. You have to treat it like all your life depends on it, right? Now, have some balance. You know what I'm saying? Don't just live, eat, and breathe your business all day. Like, have some balance. But if it just becomes a hobby, it'll get very expensive very quickly. And then two, it won't give you the results that you desire because you did not put in the work that needed to be put in. So you get disappointed. So treat it like you got to pay yourself. Treat your business like, if you're, okay, who said it? I don't think it was GT. It might have been Eric Thomas. But it's like, sometimes you got to fire yourself. Because if somebody else came and started working for your business and was doing half the nonsense that you were doing, you'd fire them. So fire you. You. Oh, that was ET.
You owe you. That's ET. Yeah,
Yes.
that's ET.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
ET.
I just, direct quote. Wow. But you owe you. So you got to treat it like somebody else is calling the shots. You just happen to be the person that's calling the shots. Split it. If you need to have a split personality to do it, go ahead and do that thing. Because at the end of the day, bro, think about it, right? And shout out, if you have feelings about Jeff Bezos, those are your feelings. But for me, I look at my man and I am so thoroughly impressed because he started this thing like it was gonna take over everything. And it has. And think about it. My man really showed up and did his thing like, I'm gonna get this bag and I'm gonna treat it like it's everything. Now he in space with his boys. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Hey, that's crazy, man.
Those are my three things. Those are my three abnormal things.
I like those. I like those,
yeah.
though. Especially that one about, treating it like it's, I heard Rushion McDonald. He is a comedian that used to work with Steve Harvey. And I was listening to a podcast called Impact Theory by Tom Bilyeu.
That's a good one.
And I've been following that since it was at 50,000 subscribers. Now it's like over 2 million, I think. And I was that what you just said, it rung true in my head. There was a couple interviews I saved. The one with Michelle McDonald was one of the ones because he said, when you start this business or you start something or you're working towards something, you have to work towards it like it is literally a job, even if you are not getting paid for it. And when he was doing his comedy, clocking in, he would clock in his hours, clocking in that 40, 50, whatever hours a week, just like it's a job. So I really like that one. That one hit home. And then also, the one about trusting others, because as a creative, as a person who I do believe I have entrepreneurial leanings. I have little small businesses that I have now. So definitely I've always been interested in entrepreneurship and creativity and seeing which ways I could gel those together. Knowing and being able to say, you know what? Hey, this is what you got. I trust you. I'm going to give it to you. Letting go of the wheel sometimes, because I'm a perfectionist. I have a lot of idiosyncrasies. I'm a very peculiar person when it comes to the things I work on. So what you just said it's just a reconfirmation, man, because
Listen,
this is
let me show you
true.
something. Let me show you something. So this is my old one. I think my new one is downstairs. But this is what I mean by treating it like a job. So I 100% believe in planners, like physical journals. But I legitimately block
I
out
got you, bro.
time I gotta work, right?
Yep.
I legit like I'll color code it, right? Like legit, I'm talking about 9 a.m. to 2 or like 11 to 4. Like I know that I gotta put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta treat it like I got somewhere to be. And it's hard too because I work from home. So, I'm at the crib
Mm-hmm.
and Netflix is right there. Just saying. It's right there. I just started watching Snowfall.
Oh, I've been seeing that
Snowfall
pop
is
up. Yeah,
right
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
bro. Snowfall is right
Yeah.
there. I want to watch it. I'm like, work's got to get done. And I treat it like the hard part about that last part for me is I treat it like, okay, I'm almost getting this opportunity to really practice becoming super disciplined about I'm paying myself because by the time I get married, the goal I've set for myself is, coming next fall. By the time I get married, my fiance is tired of working in as a physical therapist for other
How long
people,
has she been
right? Since 2019, burnt out, which, is a song that is often sung for many people. But I'm like, by the wedding day, we're at a place where once the wedding's done, she ain't got to go back. Because mind you, we're taking like a month-long, 6-week honeymoon, right? It's like, so we really got to be at a
Wow.
place where,
That's serious. We trying to
you know what
get
I'm saying? We really got to be at a
there.
place where we're not on vacation thinking about, oh my
Oh
Lord, the
wow.
bills due. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it's like. So I have to treat it like that now because then what happens whenever we have children,
Mm,
when the kids are there, I need mom and dad to be present.
mm,
Me and her. I need us to be
right.
there. And I also have to understand that I got to raise them, but I got to get that bread. She's got to get that
Yes,
bread.
sir.
We got to be able to do it collectively as a
Yes,
unit.
sir.
And we have to get into that habit now. So that's what I'm saying. Like to mix that in with that part of the suck, because I'll tell you what, the first 4 to 5 months of having the physical therapy, the business was registered. We were just grinding, trying to get our systems down. Didn't see a dollar. Didn't see a dollar, and we had an accountant. That's the kind of pressure we had on ourselves. The accountant, they collect every month. You know what I'm saying? They collect every month regardless. But now it's like things are making sense. We can almost see and predict, okay, this is how much we're going to make. This is what we're going to be able to do. Now we're really trying to expand online and say, like, this is what we're offering. We want to be able to have the months that make sense. We want to be able to, like, our goal right now, and I have no problem sharing it, but our goal personally, profit that comes into our account every month from all our businesses is 35 to 40,000 a month. Like that's the goal
Sheesh.
we've set,
It's 28 years
right?
old. You're
That's the goal.
28 years old, right?
Yeah,
Hey,
28. But
it's
here's why.
crazy.
It's a two-part thing,
Yeah,
bro. One, why not us? Like
exactly.
legitimately, why not us?
No.
Like what is literally stopping us from doing that? Just two things. The execution and knowledge. Execution and knowledge. One more time. Execution and knowledge. That's it. We got the knowledge. So we just got to execute.
That's, man.
We set those tangible steps. You can't see it, but like literally back here on this wall, like for one of my clients, I'm like, we set a goal where I was like, I want to be able to do a launch for him, and we hit like, what's the number I wrote? Um, oh, in 6 days to be able to do 20K for him, right? But it requires a lot of execution because we have the knowledge. It just requires a lot of
Wow.
execution. That's what it is. And so once I realized that was possible, and I saw a lot of people do it multiple times,
Mm,
I'm like, oh, so we could do that too.
mm. That exposure.
Okay. Exposure, your level of exposure. I don't know if you follow Eric
Oh yeah.
Thomas,
I mean,
alum?
he's
Yeah.
alumni
You,
of Oakwood. I'm a Oakwood
right?
alum as well. So Yeah.
You know Jamal King?
Yeah. Yeah. Make real estate real.
Jamal,
I'm interested in the real estate as well
real.
too, bro. So
Bro, get in, man. If you haven't joined the course,
yeah.
get in. It's legit.
I know.
I
I'm
promise
thinking
you.
about that 950. I'm gonna put it there. All of it's been going to the studio, but I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna
Listen,
invest into it.
as soon as we get off this call, remind me to talk to you about that because something sweet is coming up for the people in his alumni. You want to get in now, bro.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you the inside
Okay.
scoop. It's inside trading right there. But but what I was saying is like Jamal always says like your level of exposure leads to your level of success.
Mm.
So I actually add a fourth thing for entrepreneurs: believing that you're worthy of having that
Yeah.
success.
Woo. That's another
That
one. Oh shoot.
believing you're actually worthy of having that success. That's a very hard thing up here
Very.
because until you actually believe it, and there's a very thin line between wishing for that success and believing you can have that success. Super thin. Over the last 2 weeks, I've really learned how thin that line is, right? But once you make that shift, because if you don't actually believe it, it doesn't matter what kind of goals you set.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if you set like 30, 20, 10. Hell, a lot of people just want to do like 5 grand a month. And they're like, if I could do that without having to go clock in somewhere else, I'm straight. And that's an admirable goal because for me, it's all about your level of peace. So if all it takes to maintain your level of peace is a 60 a year, by all means,
Mm.
get that 60,
Mm.
right? But it's like you have to be willing to understand and believe that you can do that. You have to be willing to understand, like, because it's a very simple game. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's a very simple game. Like what we've come to learn. And that was the thing in our marketing business where I think that's what I was saying, like over the last like 2 weeks, we've really learned it in the business there. Because you actively start to repel yourself from the results that you want, even though you say it. Even though you're like, I want to get that, I'm going to get that. Your actions, like you just do just a little bit, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of the theory, aviation again, childhood dream, right? But like when they tell pilots, like make sure you're on course because if you're just 1 degree, that 1 degree, 2 hours later might mean that you're 300 miles from your destination, right? So we do these little 1 degree movements when we don't actually believe we're worthy of it. And that 1 degree movement over time, a year from now, you're like, but I got all the coaching. I executed all the right stuff. I woke up every morning. I did the journaling. I did the exercise. I did devotion. I ate right. I did all this, but I'm still where I'm at or worse. I'm worse than where I was a year ago because you don't believe you can actually do it. You don't believe you're actually worthy of it. So being able to make that shift and actually believe that that's the fourth thing, man, is powerful because things start to happen because I know so many people who literally legitimately wake up and this I know so many people who legitimately wake up and decide like today I'd like to make 500,000. It just feels like a good day for 500,000. And then they go do it.
Man.
And I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me?
This is
But
crazy.
I don't mean to make it all about the money portion of it. It's just a tool that leads to
Right.
a lot of
It
those
leads
things.
to right.
But it's the
It's a
same thing.
vehicle.
Like out of people that wake up and decide I want to have a peaceful day. I want to go to the beach, right? We live like 5 minutes away from the beach right now. And we've been there. Last time we've been there was like May, right? But it's like there's people that just wake up and decide, I just don't want to do anything today. I need my me time. I need to be away. And that's the same thing. That's that same level of peace. I just want to be gone. I want to do the 6 week honeymoon. It's the same thing. But it just depends what you actually believe you're worth having or it's worth experiencing. Your level of exposure leads to your level of success. You start to see. That's why I'm saying, like, the very first example was GT. When I saw the beach house, I learned in that same moment somebody like me could have a beach house. Somebody like me could live by the beach, on the beach. Forget by the beach. If that's, now, we really not beach folk. under this roof.
Yeah.
So it's not like, all right, let's go live by the beach. But I one of my dreams, I wanna literally have my own plane. And it doesn't even have to be like a big old like jet. I'm talking about a Cessna 172 that costs 50K. I wanna have one of those because I live like 5 minutes from an airport hangar, right? So I could park my plane at the airport hangar and just get up and go fly every evening and just be in the sky because that's what I care about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is crazy, man. It's crazy, and you don't hear a lot of people now. What I'm saying is like you don't hear a lot of people, especially in the field that we're going into, right? Like I said, man, my journey's been crazy. I'm on my third PT school, and partly I do believe that Andrews is going to be a good place because there was a component at every single school, having to explain the Saturday thing and whatever, it started to wear down on me. Isolation, no churches around Hampton, no churches really around St. Augustine, no churches around, right? Very isolated, living by myself in Hampton, a lot of depression and all that type of stuff. This is where I came up with Mentality ID. I came up with it. I was sitting in Panera Bread right across from my apartment, and I just wanted to study because I was just isolated. I just wanted to have some stimulation around me. This is in 2018. And I just literally started doodling with a logo, and I thought Mentality ID. And I was like, what does that mean? Well, Mentality ID, your identification. Your mentality is you, and your mentality lets you be able to navigate, or rather controls or limits how you're able to navigate through the world. So when I'm hearing you talk about stuff like this, it gets me excited because I'm going to be honest, man. Even my mom, I love my mom and everything, but my mom is, okay, she makes a good salary because she's a doctor, but it's go to work, boom. I said, Mom, I'm going up to Andrews, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but it is what it is. I mean, she doesn't care, but it is what it is for the thing. I said, Mom, I'm getting a 2-bedroom. I'm Airbnb-ing out one of the rooms. It's housing in Andrews is horrible, right? I was able to get a housing. It's horrible. I basically found a house. I said, Mom, I'll let them have the master bedroom. I saw a girl. There's a podcast, Earn Your Leisure. I'm sure you probably have heard of it.
Earn Your Leisure.
Right? Yep. I'm looking at this girl. She's in college making $300,000 off Airbnb. Now, that's not my goal. My goal is not to become an Airbnb guy. Not now, but in saying, like, Mom, if I can make passive income. And then she starts like, no. And I said, Mom, I looked at her. I said, Mom, I said, you just had a mini stroke. If you don't go to work tomorrow, do you get paid? And she said, no. I said, okay, well, this house is pretty big. There's a mortgage, right? Yeah, my dad's working, but do you get paid if you don't go? She said, no, I don't. I said, enough said. I mean,
there you go.
I don't want the same results, right? I respect your hustle because here's the thing. People, bro, there are people who work hard. So hard work is a component of it, but it's not all of it, bro. Construction workers work hard. I've seen it.
They work hard. You know who works hard? Housekeeping at like hotels.
They work hard.
They work hard. Bruh. But you're right on it. That's the thing. It's like, and I think that's the beauty of the business, detaching yourself from the necessity of having to be somewhere in order to make gainful living. Like, ain't nothing wrong with it. But like you're saying, that's genius. Because at the end of the day, man, that's what I'm saying. You can't pass on the job to the next generation. No matter how dope it is. You can't pass on the degree to the next generation. No matter how dope it is. And I think it also becomes this thing of like fear. And I'll say this, it's like this fear because understand that our generation and, we've grown up with like this shifting of thinking that's caused us to be like, bro, we want to work smart, not just hard.
Exactly.
We want to be able to enjoy our lives. This dream of like working and retiring at 60, it don't apply to us because
too much information.
People can't do that right now. Like, and that's the thing. There was a time that way. Right. There was a time that people could work for the summer and have tuition for the entire school year off one summer's work.
Psych.
It don't work like that anymore. Now, you work for the summer, you got maybe 2 classes like worth of tuition, maybe.
Sheesh.
Right? But that's the thing. It's like for us, it's understanding, okay, one, the deeper desire, what that looks like for us, what we want our life to look like, what we understand, like the level, I told you, the level for me, it's the level of peace. So I'm 100% with you there because I'm like, if that's contributing to my level of peace, believe me,
You're gonna get it.
I'm in there. You gonna get, I am in
Yep.
there. If that stuff contributes to my fiance not having to
Bingo.
work and being able to live like, because I already know what her dream life situation is. It's waking up early, going to the gym, coming back, taking a nap, and then around 1 o'clock starting coaching. Like that's the dream, and it doesn't make her lazy.
No.
She came out of PT school 22 with a doctorate. You know what I'm saying? That's
22.
when she was 22 when she came out of PT
Did she
school.
do the
Like
3-3 or how did that work?
she did a three
Oh,
three, started college at
there you go.
16. I'm talking about she
There you
dedicated
go.
years of her life
Ah,
to get this angle. So it's like knowing that that's her goal, it doesn't make it bad because that's just what she desires. And being able to put ourselves in a position to do that, to take that any day. Because other people that will look at that and be like, whoa, like, man, like, where's the tangible work? Like, you're not going to work. Y'all just at the crib all day. Yeah. If that's what we want and we're living life at the level we desire, absolutely. Now, working hard to be able to, I like nice
yeah.
things. I'm a little
We all
bougie.
we all like a
You know what
little
I'm
nice
saying?
thing here and there. You
We
know
all,
what I'm saying?
we all like little nice things.
Right.
And so it's like I understand that to be able to get a few of those nice things, like a boat
He talking
or
about
some
planes
work
and
and
boats. This is what I'm
you know what I'm
talking
saying?
about.
Oh,
This man talking about
he's
planes and boats.
son, I want a boat. That's the thing. I want a boat, but I want a boat so I can be with my people out on the water.
Yeah, I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? I want a plane like so, and that's the thing. Notice I didn't say I don't want like Gulf. I don't need a Gulf Stream. That's great. I don't need that. I just want me something that I could go up into the
Mm.
sky, just look out and be like, this is amazing. This is peaceful. And I can do this 3 to 4 times a week. Bro, I promise you, if I could do that every evening or every morning, right? Or switch it up or twice a day, it don't matter. It depends what kind of time I have. If I could do that, bro, life is sweet. Life is sweet.
And that's
You know what I'm saying?
powerful.
Life is sweet. But that's what I'm saying ultimately, because here's the thing I've noticed about physical therapy. And shout out to all my PTs. Um, shout out to this shirt too, physical therapist. But I think in physical therapy, like healthcare, a lot of people get caught up in their identity being their
Mm.
profession, right? So they get caught up in being a physical
Mm.
therapist, not in being somebody who provides physical therapy, right? They get so caught up in being a physical therapist that that's all they know. So when you start to talk about stuff like this, it becomes a complete clash and cognitive dissonance because it's like, whoa there, ooh, we're not doing that. We're not. Hold on, you talking about part time? You know what I'm saying? You're talking about coming in once a week. You're talking about controlling your schedule. Now, mind you, these are small, trivial things that people have issues with.
Yes, I know. Trust me,
You know,
I know.
that's something I see my fiance deal with. Like, that's why she's doing travel now because people just wouldn't let her control her schedule.
Crazy.
Doesn't mean she didn't want to do the work. She still want to be there 40 hours a week, but she wanted to have a day
Right.
off, or she wanted to be able to come in at 7 and leave at
Bingo.
3. She doesn't want to be there 8 to 5, like in Atlanta. Absolutely not.
Right.
You get caught in
Mm.
traffic, suddenly your 8 to 5 becomes an 8 to 9,
Exactly.
like stuff like that. And so it's like I think that's where for a lot of us, we just have to understand our identity, like that mentality ID. Understand, like, man, what we're doing is not who we are. We just have to be able to identify and create our own version of who we desire to be. So for me, a lot of it is attached to that childhood dream of being a pilot. Doesn't mean I'm at the airlines, but it means that I have the ability to fly. It means that I have the ability that if any of my friends want to go flying, let's get in the plane. If it means that, hey, let's go up to Atlanta for the weekend, we can get in the little Cessna, do the little 3 hour trip, park there, you know what I'm saying?
So
Do our thing and come back.
this
You see what
this is
I'm
what I'm
saying?
talking about, bro.
you start to like shift it. So that's why I'm saying like, man, it's that, and that's what business has been able to provide for us, because now it's like as we grow, as we build, and as we learn to understand what the process really is like, right? Words that changed my life. 2018, my best friend Joseph, we were at a restaurant. He looked me dead in the eyes and he was like, "The future's online. If you figure that out now, you're gonna be set. The future is online, right?" And so started to do a lot of online business stuff. Oh shoot, start to match my paycheck from the online. Oh shoot, I'm making more in the business now than I am working. Oh, maybe I should focus on business. You
Hey,
know what I'm saying?
I mean, if 1 + 1
That's what
equals
it is.
two,
Like
then
it doesn't. If 1 + 1 = 2, then it's time to do a little math,
exactly.
algebra. Like that's the thing.
Sheesh.
So that's what business has been able to provide, and like the future's still bright. I'm just 28. My fiance is 25. My other business partner is 28. Like
You guys
the
haven't
world
even,
is in front of
man, you
us.
haven't even
We
tapped
haven't
into
even
anything.
touched, bro. We haven't even tapped in. We're talking about real estate now. Like we're 28, bro. Like we haven't even tapped into any of this
It's
stuff.
funny, bro,
Yeah.
because my birthday, I just turned 28, like 3 months, May. I don't know. The time is going.
What?
Yeah. So,
In May too. That's
oh,
crazy.
you're May? What
Yeah.
date?
25th.
Okay, I'm the
What day?
13th, so I got you by a couple days.
13th? My cousin's birthday is May 13th.
Yeah, May 13th.
Um, that is that is weird. Uh,
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah, that's what it is, man. But like, overall, over time, like as 'cause here's the thing, and that's why it's like starting early and like just being willing to stick with it, it will show its thing. And as DPTs and future DPTs to be, like, my word to everybody in school, going to school or coming out of school is this: very quickly you will figure out that, I mean, if you just want to be in the clinic and be in the hospital and do your thing, that's your thing. I'm not gonna knock it. I pray and hope that your student loan situation is in. What you can, as a matter of fact, do that. I pray and hope that's what your situation is like, because that's dope, right? Because PT school ain't cheap. Like, I hope that's what it's like. But for those of y'all who have seen the light and have understood that you
Yes.
are not going to be able to pay that thing off,
No.
and you want to find a way, well, business is the answer. And it doesn't have to be some extravagant thing. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be some extravagant, like, 1,000 employee
Nah.
corporation. It could be two of y'all and you're making bank.
Sheesh.
It could be one, like, do you know, and let me share this as the last example. One of the most definitive things, and I put it on my vision board. Um, there's this one young lady who owns this company, Moon Cosmetics.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
Okay. So they make like skincare stuff, right? And people have mixed feelings about this. That don't matter. What is amazing is in 2020, she did $1 million in sales in 8 minutes in the middle of the night. So I only bring this up to say this. People don't know that for years before, she was putting in the work. Many people found out about her when they saw the 8 million in sales. I mean, $1 million in sales in 8 minutes. Now every time she does a launch, sells out. Like literally within minutes, she has to like get people to like do a waiting list, and then she'll send out an email. And I'm on the way. To this day, I've literally tried purchasing something for my lady, and I can never get anything because one, the launch is at midnight. All right, your boy's in bed at 10. The launch is at midnight, and by 12:03, everything is sold out. But, and here's the thing. I, I shared that to share that for years, it wasn't like that for her, right? For years, it wasn't like that for her. One of my favorite entrepreneurs in the world, Pinky Cole, right? She's owner of the Slutty Vegan brand,
I've heard of her.
and restaurants.
Yeah.
Hey, Bin, go. Listen, if y'all follow me on social media, you'll understand. I talk about slutty vegan all the time.
I
Like,
heard.
but she might be my favorite entrepreneur like ever. But people see slutty vegan and they're like, oh, she opened 2 locations in the pandemic. She literally just bought a she had a baby 3 weeks ago and just closed on a new property today. Like, she's so dope, and many people don't understand that she tried it in New York and had the building burn and lost everything and didn't go the way it's going now. She did the food truck for a year and worked and struggled through that. People don't see that, right? She was a producer for the Maury show for like 10 plus years, right? People don't see that. They just see her and they're like slutty vegan, like, but that I'm sharing that to say, like, understand that this process is rewarding as long as you want to put in the step by step. So the Moon Cosmetics girl, it's her mom, her grandma, and I'm pretty sure now she has a couple people working with them, right? But when she did the 8 million in sales, bro, it was 3 people. Pinky doing the food truck, it was 2 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it.
That's
It doesn't have to be some extravagant thing. Find your thing, find the problem, solve the problem, offer the solution to the problem to people that
there
need
you
it
go.
because they're there. And hey, if y'all are in PT, understand this. There's mad clinic owners out here who have so many problems in physical therapy in their clinics, in their businesses that you can solve.
Mm.
You could do the same thing I'm doing and still get paid. Like, it don't matter. You go down to the grocery store, the bread aisle, you'll see like 100 bread companies, but every single company is still making that bread.
Right. Making
I'm
that
sorry.
bread, no pun intended. I like that.
Every single company is still getting
Yeah.
paid. So know this, that even though you come out of it and you feel like somebody else is doing it, in healthcare alone, there's so many things. And if you don't mind me sharing this, I'll share this. But if you are lost and you don't know where to even find some of these ideas, check out our show,
Oh, plug
Off
it.
the
Well,
Clock, the
plug
Healthcare
it. Plug
Entrepreneurs
all of it.
podcast. Basically, with Off the Clock, the Healthcare Entrepreneurs podcast, we literally solve that problem for you as healthcare entrepreneurs. You're trying to figure out, you want to get into entrepreneur space, you don't know where to get started, but you want people that are like you, that have gone through your struggle. We're 78 episodes in,
Mm.
right? Episode just dropped this week. This guy that owns a healthcare staffing agency, real estate, a software company, multiple millions, looks just like us. Started in staffing agency at 14 in his family business. Like, and they each episode they walk you step by step. So come check out the show, listen, leave a review, whatever. But at least listen, pick something, and understand that we bring that so that if you want to like figure out that thing, we bring that thing for free, by the way, because we putting in that work so we can help
I
y'all.
feel it, man.
But if you're trying to figure out like, okay, what does that look like for me? Go listen to an episode. Pick an episode, listen to it. You'll see if it's for you. And if you want to get into that industry, reach out to us, reach out to the person we interviewed, right? Or if you want us to connect you with them and they're willing, we'll do the best we can. But there's so many ways to get that bag in healthcare. There's so many ways to ensure that you have the life you want to live as an entrepreneur. And there's so many ways to ensure that your level of peace, sanity, and just all around balance can be achieved. And you can have your cake
Mm.
and still
And
eat
eat
it
it
too.
too.
Can't do
We
that.
like that. Yo, this is
You
crazy.
can do it.
This is good.
Don't let these folks tell you you can't. You can.
I'm going to plug after this. I'll get that information because I already have your general Instagram. I'll plug it in the bottom, so they can definitely check that out. Off the clock, you said?
Off the Clock, the Healthcare Entrepreneurs podcast. We got these
Off the
t-shirts.
clock.
You know what I'm
Sweet,
saying?
sweet.
And let me do this. Let me do this. Anybody watching, listening, if you want a shirt, now I'm making like one of those like little unanimous decisions where people don't know in the business. If you want a shirt for free, if you want a shirt for free, DM me. Back there, I have like 15 extra that we ordered and I didn't realize. But off the clock, they all say physical therapist. You know, we just show off for the profession, and I want to make sure you can rep too, right? Rep your set, PT, got like 15 of them, and I'm gonna reserve 15. So whoever hits me up first, you can get one.
Sweet.
Give me your thing. We'll send it out. Just make sure we got large and small. We ain't got no mediums anymore.
Okay.
Large and small.
Large and
So
small.
don't come to me asking for a medium. We ain't got that.
So
Large
they
and
can
small.
hit you up in your personal Instagram that I plugged under.
Send me a DM. Yep, you can send me a DM. I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna respond the same day because that's just I don't check it that often. But when I do check it, I will respond to you. And if it doesn't show up in my regular thing, it's probably in the message request, and I gotta go through that. So don't take it personally. Just give me, a little bit, and I'm gonna get to you. It's free.
Gotcha.
Just
Yeah,
hold
they
on.
they gonna be all right. I appreciate that. So let me ask you these two, because I don't want to hold you too long. But this man, because I could talk to you forever. I already know but I'll keep it condensed for the viewers, and then also for you as yourself. Um, I hear you mention your fiance a lot, and I have to ask this question because let's just be real. One thing about this platform is when I talk about PT school, one, you notice if you've there's a certain, hey, we're not represented very much. You can go to TSU.
Whoa, 3%?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then males,
3%.
oh man, it's even worse, right? So you look at schools like TSU, right? Two black kids in a class of 40. And TSU is a historically black college. Eric Thomas is working with TSU, and I'm looking at I applied to TSU. I met the thing. They say, look, you got to go take your GRE again. So what? Yeah, you need to be hired to be more competitive. So there's now systems. I'm looking at this. I'm like, wow. So you can control what you can with this platform. There's an image, right? There's a lot of things going on in my mind that I haven't verbally said yet, but there's an image I'm trying to paint, right? And you're helping me, and the other people have been on are helping me paint this image, right? Because even at our own schools, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, TSU, we're not even represented there. We're getting phased out of those programs. So talk to me a little bit about, shift gears a little bit, and I'll have to ask this because I'm a single guy, right? One thing I realized, I've dated, and I will say this just very honestly and transparently. Dating women have been a distraction for me. It's been a distraction, and I've managed it a lot better as of late, especially with all the stuff going on with PT school. I've heard you mention your fiance quite a bit of times, right? Part of the reason why is I knew I'm not going to say I'm the most religious person ever. However, growing up Seventh-day Adventist, very strict Seventh-day Adventist, I am conditioned more than I realized, right? That's why after a while, I got accepted into one of my top schools, PCOM, Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine in Suwanee. After that, I said, screw that. I'm going to Berrien Springs. I've never lived in a place where it snowed in my life. I'm going from St.
Oh, no.
Augustine, right? St. Augustine,
Lord.
where
Sir.
we had 53 degrees. That's the lowest it got this winter. Going from St.
You gotta
Augustine
go. Yeah.
to Berrien Springs, right? So that's how you know that much of my conviction is like, okay, I really feel like I'm led here, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how do you think, how important do you feel it was with your relationship with your fiance to keep you focused and to keep you on the path? And do you think if you were single, living a bachelor's life, would you be as far along as you are right now?
Man. I remember when I was single. Life was different then. Man, life was different then. Do I think I'll be as far along? From me personally, no. I think now we have to take into consideration my mindset when I did meet my fiance in 2018. Because we just got engaged in May this
Okay.
year.
And how long have you guys been dating?
I we well, Uh, dang, she knows these answers. Well, we started dating in August of 2018, so we're
Oh,
coming up
oh,
on three
oh! You've been in the game.
years.
You've been out the game for a while.
Yeah, I've been out the game for
You've
a
been out the
minute,
game
bro.
for a while. I feel it.
Um, for quite some time. That's what I was saying. I remember when I was single. Uh, different times. But I do think my mindset was just like, okay, before I met her, I was just like, yo, I'm just gonna do me. Like I'm good on the like I don't desire a relationship. Like I'm actually okay with being okay. I'm okay with being single. I was like, I hit that point. I was like, I'm gonna grind and focus on this. And then I saw her in that hotel lobby, man. And I was just, oh, who is this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh,
who is this? And I intentionally was like her friend for 90 days
okay.
to move. I was just like her homie, like just her friend. It was
You
very
took the
hard because
back
I
door
really
out.
like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel it.
But I realized, and the crazy part is actually when I saw her, like, now call me crazy if I want, but I saw her and I legitimately heard God say, "That's your wife."
Bro,
So
that's
like
funny.
when I heard it, like, and I promise you, bro, like I saw her and I was like, "That's like just heard that's your wife." And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get to know her, right? Like, and I was like, I need to get her number. Like, there's a whole story behind it. We ain't got time for that. The point is, much confirmation. So once we started dating and we had, I told her like what my life plan was and what her life plan was, she told me. And I just realized very quickly, like, okay, we're in this for the long haul.
Mm.
And so everything I do is dependent, like not dependent, but like complements what we want together. So that's why I say like I don't think I'd be as far along simply because like she's been and she continues to be, right? Because actually she's one of my business partners. That's the thing, right? Like in a business, right? I'm not talking about like the whole like she's my business partner in life. Like she's like a legitimate, like we got our names in the books,
Right.
like in two businesses, not one, two. Um, but she she has helped me understand many things about myself that it complemented or like have expressed very positive things in business and have allowed me to grow faster than I would have before. Because I used to be a hothead, man. I used to be like, if things didn't go the way I wanted to go, like I'd just be mad. I'd just trip on people. She's taught me to be calm and consider perspectives and that kind of stuff. So understanding like what happens because things go wrong in business all the time. Like maybe she's like, try to consider where they're coming from. What could have happened that day that led that mistake to occur? Don't just pop off. See where they're at, right? But she's also the one that's like, yo, don't be too soft though.
Mm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, put your foot down, hold it down, do what you got to do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think I'd be as far along simply because she has encouraged me along the way. And then the second part, and like you mentioned, there's not many of us, right, in physical therapy. I learned this from Tim Vidal. He's a physical therapist in the DC area. 3%, like 3% representation in an entire industry,
Yes.
men and
Yes,
women,
sir.
right? It's crazy. So the thing is, I know another part of the reason that I try to work very hard in business is because it is an example for young
Mm-hmm.
black girls and young black boys
Mm-hmm.
and you know PT students that are in PT school and look like us and they're wondering, can it be done? Is it possible? Or do I just have to like go into the same cycle as everybody? It's so much easier when I do it with somebody like her who also looks like me. She's Jamaican. Shout out to Jamaicans.
Yep.
Um, but because like I understand that we have the same mindset, like we're equally up, we know what we're working towards. It makes it easier. and it makes things work faster. And now it's like also, like you said, the dating thing is a distraction, bro. If I was dating people right now, man, that'd be a mess. Like, I ain't got time to be focusing.
I'm telling you, I had to check out.
I ain't
Take
got
me out,
time to learn
coach.
people's favorite color. Like, this is not the time. I don't have energy or time for that.
Yeah.
Right? I got somebody that I can get upset at, and I just know like we're in
Right.
this.
She's still gonna be there.
Like, she's still gonna be there, and we're still doing this together. So yeah, that's why I say like we're further along than I think I would be if I was single. Because if I was still dating, man, like for me personally,
Yeah.
it'd be a hot
It's
mess.
time. It's
I ain't got the energy for all
time.
that.
Very good.
Mm-mm.
Well, this would be the last question I ask, and I'll let you plug your all of your socials again, and we'll plug it in the bottom as well, and we'll get you out of here, man. I really appreciate this. This is awesome. So we've been talking a lot about entrepreneurship, and I knew we were going to get a lot into it in this episode. Well, I'll tie in my last two questions because I like to give people. So I don't know if you've taken Eric Thomas's flight assessment, right?
Oh, I have.
Right. I'm a C. I'm a high C and a D. I'm a C and a D, right?
Okay.
So, but with a C kicks in, I am very methodical. 1, 2, 3, and then I can execute as long as I have it very methodically put in front of me, right? So I want to give people some very pragmatic ways. Like if someone said, hey, how do you start a YouTube channel? Hey, how do you set up a whatever? Okay, you do this, 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 and this. If someone is trying to get into entrepreneurship, whether it's online or let's say someone's graduating, they want to start a business, what would you say after registering their name and getting the LLC, right? What would you say are the, let's say, 3 next steps that follow? 1, and then 2, I'll have you answer this one first, probably it's a little easier. Do you believe entrepreneurs are formed, or do you believe they're born, right? Or do you believe it's a mixture of both? Because there's a lot of schools of thought on this, and I'm interested to hear your opinion.
Much like skills, I think entrepreneurs are always there. I do think, and this is just my personal thought, I think it's a mix of the two, but I think there's an activation required. Because I know a lot of people who have an entrepreneurial mind, but they never activated being an entrepreneur. Part of that could be just lack of necessity. Part of that could be lack of desire. But I think entrepreneurs, like, because you can tell the ones that are born, like straight up out the womb, like
Gary
that
V's.
Gary V's,
Yeah.
the what's up everybody, like, like those people, like,
Right.
Oh, they are born for this. But I also think that there's ones that have the activation that they're formed, right? Out of necessity. I saw a lot of people during 2020, like, suddenly become entrepreneurs. Where before, it wasn't even a thing. But the opportunity to activate it presented itself. Because everybody was at the crib. Everybody was just chilling at home. Everybody was putting on sanitizer every 10 seconds. And, saw so many people like start businesses and do so many things. That's like, oh, wow, you are an entrepreneur. You just didn't have a reason to do it until now. So, I'll say that. And then to answer your second question, to starting a business, I will say, this is going to sound repetitive, knowing what your end goal is before you even start anything. Just know what your end goal is, because that will help you determine what you're willing to do as an entrepreneur to get there. If your end goal, like I said, if your end goal is to make $60K a year, then you don't necessarily have to do what the person whose goal is 10 million a year. You don't necessarily have to do what my goal is to get the 50K to buy the plane. Like, just know what your end goal is, right? Like, there's legitimately something that we're putting together where I'm like in the PT, so it's online training, right? And I know, like, from that, it's the program costs this much, and because it costs this much, we need this many people to buy. And if we can get this many people to buy in the next 3 months, I can go buy that plane.
This guy's gonna get that plane.
No,
I feel that.
regardless. But it's like I know if like that's what we got to do, then that's like you know what your end goal is,
Right.
and then that helps you determine what it is you need to do. From there, just figure out what it is you're trying to get into. Like what industry, what thing. Don't focus on 10,000
Right.
things. Just focus on one thing, bro. Like just focus on one thing. Just start with one thing because have you ever read The One Thing? It's a book.
No, I haven't.
They also have a podcast. It's by is it Gary Keller?
No, I haven't heard.
Um, but they always talk about like the one thing is like basically the first domino. That if you're able to master that first thing, you can knock off that domino,
Mm.
and it will collectively knock a bunch of other stuff in, right? So just figure out your one thing. If that's Facebook ads inside online marketing, do Facebook ads. If that's creating designs and logos, do designs and logos. If that's training front desk people, do because I know people that do all these things, right? Um, if that's like, I don't know what else. If that's like being a podcast editor, I know a guy who literally podcast has a podcast editing company, and he is starting PT school, and he's doing like 130 grand a year now.
Come on, man. Ah,
My man is making so much money that he doesn't even edit his own podcast. He pays somebody else to edit his podcast.
oh man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's just your one thing. Because here's the thing. And I think people get so caught up in, because it's very easy to see all these people doing it. And the thing I've learned, right? I learned it from this guy, Mahdi Woodward. If you don't follow him online, he's a cool dude, Mahdi. But the one thing Mahdi explained is like, a lot of people try to recreate what he does, not understand that the way he does it works for his audience. So they start to do 10,000 different things because he's doing 10,000 different things and they think it's going to work. And that ain't it. He had to start with 10,000 things. His one thing was growing his Instagram page. So last year he was at 30. Now he's like 125,000. He was at 30,000. Now he's 125,000. His one thing was just giving content to grow his business. But why was that important? Because he was able to grow by growing his audience, he grew his income.
Yep.
It was growing. His one thing was to grow his audience by attracting his customers. So he has 125,000 people who genuinely rock with him. Now he can sell to them. He could serve them.
Yes.
He could help them. Right? So just figure out that one thing as a first thing. Well, no. Find what your purpose is. Figure out your thing, your one thing, and just do that thing. And then the next part is figure out a way to collapse as much time as possible. Because here's the thing. And I'll say it. There is no valor and there is no honor to me in the struggle. I don't see the purpose of why you should spend the next 10 years struggling if you could collapse that struggle to 1 year. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
Nobody's gonna like you anymore because you was in the mud for 10 years. Like
you could become a rapper.
That to one, just do it. Just do it. Like find a way to collapse that time. And then the very last thing is just like invest in. This will sound cliche, but like find somebody who did it. And if you gotta pay them, pay them.
Yes, sir.
We paid GT a lot of money.
My boy's in his course right now in his incubator. I know.
Fact. You know what I'm saying? We paid a lot of money. But by paying that much, like we figured out a lot that would have taken us 15 years. We figured that out in a month. Now we're doing stuff that, is not the same.
Powerful.
Just figure those things out. Like running a business does not have to be complicated. There will be stumbling blocks. There will be struggles. There will be things that make you wonder if this is it. But as long as you know your end goal, As long as you just figure out how to collapse time, as long as you understand like there's people out there who have done it and you can find those people. And we live in the age of the internet. So you can find a lot of these people for free because a lot of people put a lot of stuff out there for free, teaching you how to do it. You don't necessarily like have to pay somebody if you can't. You know what I'm saying? We just paid my man because we needed to be in the circle. We needed the exposure. By paying GT, we met Myron Golden. And when I met Myron Golden, he's another person that I realized, oh, I can live life like this. You know, I golf. I haven't golfed time because I ain't got time to golf. But my man Myron's out here like working so he could just like run to the golf course and getting around to do his thing and then go spend time with his grandbaby. Like, find people that are doing the thing you want to do and they're doing it the way you want to do it and do it. And just figure out that problem. Figure out that one thing, get into it, get after it, just dedicate yourself to that one thing. And the process will reward you. The process will reward you eventually. May not be today, may not be next month, may not be this year. But when it does reward you, I promise you, every single dollar, sweat, tear will be worth it. Every single one.
Amazing. Guys, I appreciate Paul coming on. Paul, you can go ahead and shout out your socials one more time, and we'll get those plugged in at the bottom. And, guys, I'm going to try to probably split this interview up a little bit and post it on my channel so we can get little snippets of it if you guys don't have the time to watch the whole thing. But this is something I know I'm going to go and watch over again, So, yeah, go ahead and plug your stuff one more time.
Follow us, OTC University. OTC University on Instagram. That's a podcast page. That's also like our business, Off the Clock LLC. From there, you can message us individually. You can message that page. Now, if you message that page, then somebody on our team will get back to you ASAP. And if you need to get in contact with us, then we'll know. That's the fastest way. You can message me on my personal page, and I'll give that to you because that's like the_pride_of_Simba. So that's a little complicated. Right. You can message me on there. I will get back to you. I do check my DMs at the end of the day or somewhere in the middle, depending on the kind of day I have. But, I can do that. And then, if you need to email us, offtheclock at otcuniversity.com. I think that's the email. I have no idea. But
yeah, we'll get it right. We'll get it situated.
We have a team that handles this stuff, bro. So like I never actually have to think about this. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know what our email is. But yeah, OTC University, that's our Instagram handle. You could look us up on Facebook, send us a message there. My name, Paul Ochieng. You can send us a message on the Off the Clock LLC or Off the Clock, the Healthcare Entrepreneurs Podcast on Facebook. You can hit us up there. Check out our YouTube, same name. Check out our podcast, same name. Everything, same name, Off the Clock. Yeah, support us because we're trying to support y'all in healthcare, friendly healthcare entrepreneur. We're trying to help y'all. Thing is, we're not telling you to quit your job. We're not telling you to leave. What we are trying to do is help you stabilize your life, your income, your stability by doing things in entrepreneurship inside of healthcare and outside of healthcare that can help you better just do what you want to do and help your people. Because at the end of the day, you should be able to live life the way you want to live it. And that's why we're here. So,
boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Thank you. I appreciate you, Paul. And we are signing out.